This is FatKings Friday for May 2nd. I am Phil Olson. Welcome to the show. Today we have our special guest host who is no stranger to FatKings Friday, the one and only master of the Church of Waffle, Mr. Chris Waffle.
How's it going, everybody? It's great to be back on Fat Kings.
There he is.
Here I am.
And our very special guest, whom has been a big inspiration of mine in the community, but has never appeared on Fat Kings, Mr. Michael May of Houston, Texas.
Hello, everyone.
Thanks for joining
us, Mike.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys both coming on, helping host and being the victim. So
not a problem.
We appreciate it. Quick shout out to and I have to do this because I'm not outing him. He told me I could tell everybody. Mr. Gooch Monster hit his goal weight today. I have to be very specific because if we're not specific, people will make bad videos about it. So goal weight. So congratulations to Gooch. So now he can disappear and we don't have to watch videos from him anymore. So, round of applause.
Now he's put out to pasture.
Yep.
Nice knowing you.
Nice knowing you. You can make a comeback like Chris did much later. It's almost like a Star Wars revival. They start making.
You can come back, right?
Right.
Good for you, Splooch Monster. Hey, do you know what his goal weight was?
I think it was 182, and he's 181 point something.
Wow.
So.
Yeah.
Yep.
I never got that low.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be seeing that. Plus
Me
another
either.
leg. So, Mike, you're always a little bit ahead of me on the weight curve, but you're also a trendsetter for me because if Mike says he's into a large shirt at this weight, I'm going to be in a large shirt in a couple of months. So, how are you? What are you tipping in at, sir? How are you doing on your journey?
Well, I'm right at 207. Large pullover shirts, medium button-up shirts, and 32-inch waist jeans.
Wow, holy smokes. That's awesome. And you've lost over 200 pounds, right?
I've lost right at 200 pounds.
Nice.
In 16 months.
Oof, well, congratulations, man.
That's
It's
awesome.
been a hell of an
That's
impressive
awesome.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Chris, you're our veteran. You are our guy who's been
Yes.
a little bit more on the maintenance side for a while now. And how is that journey going for you?
It hasn't been going too well. It's weird. It's weird. How tall are you, Mike?
I'm 5'11".
I'm your height, but I only got down to waist 36, large shirt, large button shirt.
Yeah.
And when I was I got down to 193, and I felt like I was emaciated.
Really?
I do have a large frame with broad shoulders. My shirts get real tight, around the shoulder. So when I hear you guys in TJ and Phil, and they're like, "Oh, I got into 34 jeans. I got into 32 waist jeans or whatever," and I'm like, man, I was barely into 36 when I got to go. It makes me feel a little weird. I don't know. I mean, we shouldn't compare each other.
Well, it also depends on where you wear your jeans at, too.
Yeah.
I wear them over my legs.
Around your knees?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, real low like the rest of the gangsters. That's what I wear. Easy access to my gat. I need that. So.
It's just interesting. I guess all bodies are different. I have a long torso and kind of shorter legs.
Right.
But I have to tell you that maintenance, especially since I moved up here, has been a little difficult. I don't have the routines that I had set up for myself when I lived in Southern California. I'm still trying to get into new routines here. It helps me to stay on track by kind of creating a pattern and a routine. I have a protein shake when I wake up. I eat some string cheese later. Those kind of things. And it was just me living by myself with my kids coming over half the time. So I was really fully in control of everything to eat in my house, completely. And now I'm not, understandably. So So, I've put on a little bit of weight to a point where like I'm a little bit uncomfortable. I'm still in the same clothes, but they're feeling a little tighter.
Right.
And so I noticed one thing is I work from home now, so I'm not even getting like the activity of like getting ready and going and walking up the stairs to my office. Like now I literally like roll out of bed and sit in this chair and sit in the chair all day. So I think I've been talking to Sarah about joining a gym nearby or just trying to get more active. Plus it's raining here like 24/7. You can't even really go outside, and but I'm fully focused on getting back on track because I think one of my biggest fear, and I'm not afraid of things. I'm not like a fearful person, but I am scared to death of becoming the person I was before surgery again. I went to Tampa and saw Carney talk,
Yeah.
and talking about the struggles that she has. I don't want that to be me.
Right. Yeah, that's
Nothing against her personally. I think she's awesome, but I don't want that to be my struggles.
that's my biggest fear.
So yeah, Mike, I was going to ask you. So I mean, I'm very routine too. I mean, I'm with Chris. I have a routine, man, and if something throws the routine off, I really got to be super focused on the fact that okay, like just traveling this weekend to Texas, pack my bars, pack my jerky, pack my protein shakes. Make sure I'm watching. I'm not snacking here and there. When we go out to dinner, I'm making good choices. But how much of a routine guy are you, Mike?
What's a routine?
For
I
your
don't have no routine at all.
None at all.
None
Wow.
at all. With the way our house works, I mean, it's hard to have a routine. I mean, with how active the kids are, and I mean, sometimes we're not eating dinner until 9, 10 o'clock at night. Uh, and I guess the most routine thing is getting up and having something for breakfast in the morning. But with teenagers, it's hard when they're as active as they are.
So
The teenagers leach out of house and home.
Yeah,
you get
but
the teenagers, you got grandkids, so you got people coming in and probably snacks around for those
yeah,
people and stuff.
there's snacks. There's always snacks and cookies and chocolate and candy and it's always there, and that's been a kind of a struggle. Some of it has, but like this past Easter, I mean, it was with all the candy. I've shocked that I had lost over the Easter break because I went ahead and ate. I mean,
It seems like everybody struggled with Easter. Like we all breezed through Christmas time and no big deal, but man, Easter it seems like all of us had some grief with Easter. That's
yeah,
it's been a common theme. Speaking of common themes, let's see, you'll appreciate this. I hear Mr. Waffle has nuptials coming up, and Mike had just had an anniversary. So let's start with Chris. Why don't we talk a little bit about your upcoming nuptials, sir?
Oh, shoot. Well, yeah, all this is about to be taken off the market permanently.
Get your last minute
August
orders
2nd.
in.
August 2nd.
Congrats.
Gonna do a little eloping, running away like the star-crossed young lovers we are.
Well played, sir. And Mike, 19 years. Did I get that right?
yeah, 19 years.
Congratulations, sir.
Thanks.
You had mentioned before the broadcast. So how did you meet your lovely wife of 19 years? You said you've known her for almost 25. You met in junior high.
Yeah, we met in 7th grade. It's a kind of a funny story. The day I met her, I can probably find the paper around here somewhere because my mom keeps everything. We had to write in our journals in English, and I actually wrote, I met the girl I was going to marry. And some odd years later, I ended up marrying her.
Nice. Well, how was she But she was dating some other guys through high school, right? And
Oh yeah, we never dated through high school. We were always just, best friends or friends. We hung out, we went out, but we never dated until after high school, except for we had a slip up because our oldest son was born right before our senior year in high school.
So you got
Jackpot.
friend zoned for a while, but the last laugh was on everybody else, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
yes. So here's my question. As someone who was a big fat nerd in high school, this is for we're gonna blow the lid off of this and give some real, as mentors to the people right now. We're gonna help out some people out there, some kids who might be watching. The big fan, because we all know that teenagers love FatKings Friday.
Exactly.
They
So
don't even go out on Thursday night. They barely get their homework done for Friday. That's pretty
yeah,
Yep.
Mike, how, and I'm sure Phil's wondering this too, how did you break through that friend zone and make it to home base, brother?
Her boyfriend pissed her off, so she came over.
Yeah.
And one thing led to another. And then it was friend zone the next day. And then she found out that we were expecting.
Oh.
Well, so Mike's tricks is, if I got the
My
straight.
trick is
Go for it.
no. So let me get this straight, Mike. So your advice to the kids out there is wait until the girl that you like is emotionally vulnerable.
Exactly.
Stick your penis in her. Don't wear any protection. Get her pregnant, and then she'll be all yours for 20 years.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I think that's sound advice.
But, we actually didn't even date until our son was like 18 months old. We were just friends, and then we got married, like, quickly.
Well,
See, you
congratulations.
learn all kinds of things on FatKings Friday. You think
And they lived happily ever after.
that's right.
Well,
Happily ever after.
Most part
Like,
happy.
For the
19
most
more
part.
years.
Every relationship has their up and down.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of a strategy I have to admire. He just waited. He was like Chuck Norris. He didn't sleep. He just waited. He just waited.
waited.
Yeah. He waited and then he's pounced.
Pounced.
And he's like, I'm going to make sure that you're in my life for the rest of the next 18 years at least.
That's right. I think that's what was going through my mind. Yeah, that's
I'm
it.
sure that's what it was.
Yeah.
Hey guys who are watching, feel free to drop your questions into the chat. And I know none of you have ever watched the show before, and I'm sure you just want to hear Chris and I ask questions all night. But you can ask them; it's okay.
Yeah. We mentioned this before the cast. I got the feeling that a lot of ladies were looking forward to the three of us on here, and that this FatKings Friday was going to be a real panty dropper.
That's absolutely true. I mean,
That is true.
And now they heard how Mike's tactic. They probably even more so. They're like, "Holy crap!
Yes.
We had no idea. We had no idea."
Indeed.
Yep, that's the secret, guys.
There you go.
So, Mike, you brought up pre-show that maybe we should talk about some of the medical challenges post weight loss, mainly with doctors who don't understand weight loss surgery patients. You want to clue the folks in a little bit on what we're talking about?
Well, yeah. As most of y'all have watched my videos, there was a point from from January when I had surgery through May that I was in and out of the hospital a lot. And a lot of that had to do with my blood disorder that I have, which I have a clotting disorder, which I clot easily. And so they had me on Coumadin, and the doctors that I was seeing did not know how Coumadin reacted with a weight loss surgery patient. with the restricted diet, the restricted stomach, they just didn't know. So it was throwing my blood levels very untherapeutic, where at one point they were amazed that I just wasn't bleeding out my eyes and everything. I mean,
Crazy.
so I was in and out of the hospital. You know, I think there was 1 month I was in the hospital 3 times and had platelet transfusions and all kinds of stuff just to get my blood levels back down. And then they finally figured out that, hey, you know, Coumadin does not work good with someone who is rapid weight loss and a restricted diet. So,
Interesting. I'm sure it was. I mean, in fairness, it probably was uncharted territory.
yeah, it was for quite a few of my doctors.
Yeah, but you don't want to be the guinea pig in that scenario for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, because Mike, you've had some rough stays. You've had some stays in the hospital throughout this journey. I mean, this hasn't been a.
You were just in the hospital earlier this week, weren't you, Mike?
Actually, I was just in the ER, but yeah.
Oh, just in the ER.
My daughter's new steer kicked me on Sunday, and then we went up to another barn, and I was helping some kids unload some of their new projects, and one of the steers got away, and I went chasing it and got a hold of it and got drugged to the ground and stuff. And when I went to the doctor on Monday, they didn't like the way my leg looked, so he sent me to the ER to get checked out. So, but that was a reason why I had surgery, though, was so I could get up and go do the running and being drugged by the steers, and, you know, just I didn't even, you know, when the steer broke loose, I didn't even think about it. I just ran and did what I was supposed to do, where, you know, 2 years ago, I would have just stood there like, you want me to run? Yeah, right. I'm going to sit here and let that thing come to me. So.
And now all you want to do is steer clear of that one in the future.
Right.
The first pun of many.
No, this is what we would expect. Today is May Day, by the way. Just so we're all clear with the title of this show, you know, Waffles on May Day, May 1st. So, and there was a bunch of polls in this video. So, you know, I figured May poll, Michael May, Waffle. It's a brilliant title. Just
perfect. That is a brilliant title.
There we go.
Tyrone wants to know, and I think you already answered this question to the reverse of his question, but Mike, does it suck to be from Texas?
No, it does not suck to be from Texas. This is the greatest state in the United States, and I think everyone should be here.
I got to say, I was just there, and I have a hard time arguing with you. It was a very nice trip. I might be a little biased right now, so.
But I do think Tyrone's been banned from Texas, from what I heard.
There are many warrants for Tyrone in many states, I believe. So.
Yeah, we'll have to sneak him in.
Yep, we're gonna have to actually get Tyrone on the show at some point, but.
That'll be one to see.
Yeah.
He also wants to know, Mr. Chris, where did Waffle come from?
It's Belgian in origin. Actually, when my great grandparents came over from Belgium, and they settled into the dairy farms, they used to call it Dairy Valley in the north part of Orange County. The middle part was orange groves and things. The northern part was, they called it Dairy Valley, a lot of dairy farms, and they settled there. And, you know, that's where my ancestors came. So, you know, Waffle, it's a family name. And, you know, whenever I perform a song, it's always for Pappy Waffle up there in the sky.
Amen, Pappy Waffle.
Pappy. We call him Pappy. There's Pappy, there's his brother, our great uncle Bocephus. They were all dairy farmers, and they got hit in the head a lot by the steer.
Well, I also hear that they have a strong the men in your family have always had a strong affection for Canadian girls due to the especially the ones that were part of the maple syrup industry, the empire.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Absolutely. Anything sticky. Sticky and sweet it's on our family crest.
Excellent. I did not know that. That is all.
Yeah.
Everybody's learning stuff here. So
It is.
let's see. Okay, here's one from Doug Drops Weight. Non-WLS question for Mike. I have an offer to move to Houston. Is everyone there as nice as you, or are you the exception?
No, everyone here is, well, can't say everyone, but
Well, are you white, Doug?
Doug is he does appear to be.
Is Doug Caucasian?
He does.
I believe Doug is.
Okay, he's good to go.
He's good to go. I mean, we're 90% nice.
I will say in my stint in sales, whenever I would talk to somebody in Texas, they were always friendly. Always. They were always polite, no matter, even if they didn't want to buy, they were always polite, and they would kindly tell you no or yes, and that would be an end of it. It's always good.
Yeah,
Not as nice as the people up in Oregon.
Not as nice as people in Oregon, is that what we said?
Mm-mm. Nicest folks I've ever met.
There we go. The gauntlet has been tossed, Texas.
Well, we'll have to see about that.
Well, they hate Californians, and I tell people I'm from California, and they're still nice to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, see, we don't hate nobody. We love everybody.
Is that true?
That's true.
Don't mess with Texas, though. That's what I hear.
Well, yeah, because
So you're not.
everyone's
So
back.
would you, if I messed with Texas, would you still be nice to me? Because I feel like if you messed with Oregon, they would still be nice to you.
Yeah, we'd still be nice to you. We'd be shitty for a little while, but then we'd come back around and be nice.
Really? Okay. How many? Do you have a conceal and carry permit?
Not yet.
I do.
I knew you did.
I'm teasing. I think that Texas has reciprocity with Colorado, so in that respect, I guess I technically have a Texas concealed carry.
There you go.
All right, so who still has their gallbladder? I know Mike does not.
Nope.
How are you
I do.
recovering from that?
Recovering good. The first month after gallbladder surgery was hell, but I thought gallbladder surgery was worse than having my WLS surgery in pain-wise.
What do you think made the difference? I mean, that was Tanya's question, by the way.
I don't know what made the difference, but I hurt. It hurt so bad for like 2 weeks straight. And after I had my VSG, I mean, I was back to work in 6 days. But with the gallbladder, I don't know, it just wiped me out physically, mentally, everything
Wow.
for a good month.
I have mine.
I saw mine too, yeah.
Well, I know everybody's program is different, but when I got home from the hospital, which I was in the hospital like way longer because of complication, but I was on every pill. I was taking pills all day long. I had a gallbladder pill. I had all these things. I was giving myself blood thinner injections into my stomach. Like, I hear a lot of people, they don't have as much. Man, I was taking stuff for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Wow.
I came out okay. I wish it was more standardized. I wish, like, the FDA or whatever, the Surgeons Association, whatever it is, could, like, standardize it and have it like a standard mental check and a standard pre-op and post-op like scenario that they could all come together and say, this is what we've learned and this is the best way to go about pre-op and post-op and everywhere in between to and it made it like make it a little bit more standardized, because you hear like some weird things and some people get this, some people don't get, it's crazy. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox now. But
Yeah, I mean, that would be ideal.
I think you have a point, because I think the one place I think that's lacking, at least, and I'll ask you guys how you feel about it too, is that they don't really do much with the mental aspect of it, other than just getting checked to make sure you're not batshit crazy before you have the surgery. But there's
not to interrupt you, Phil, but from being in Tampa that a lot of weight loss surgery patients are batshit crazy.
Well, there's been many videos made about how batshit crazy some of them that we know are. So I mean, that must be true.
Well, exactly, because we all lied on our
That's right.
our psyche valves.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Anything to get the surgery. Just lie your way through.
Exactly.
So did either one of you guys have? Did your program have anything really after your initial eval? Was that it, or?
Nothing. I had my eval, and that was
That
it.
was
They
it.
didn't even talk
That
about
was it. I reached out to somebody. I started reaching out to support groups myself because I was having such a hard time mentally. And my friends were like, "Are you okay?" Like, people were kind of concerned about me because I was not making great choices. I was going out, having all these crazy times with, I was having fast times with loose women. And, I was staying out till 3 a.m. and going to work the next day. And I was up and down. And, my friends were like, "Look." So I started reaching out to support groups, and I found one and started talking to and getting really to know Diana Vogel, who's going to be the MC of the OH conference this year. She's fantastic. She actually helped me a lot. But, without that, I probably, it would have taken me, I don't know it would have taken me a lot longer probably to think about things. But she helped me a lot, and it's a shame that there isn't more help, the help for the mental aspect. It's like I had to do all the work to do it instead of like my program saying you should really, here's someone you can talk to as you go through the process.
Yeah, that would have been a lot easier. I mean, I didn't even start dealing with the mental aspect to almost a year out. I focused mainly on the weight loss and put a lot of the mental stuff on the back burner until it just all came out.
A lot of people do that, and one of the cool things I think that a lot of people have been talking about Sarah Nerd Oregon's video where she talked about what goal means and those kind of things. A lot of people were talking about that in the last couple of weeks, and she felt like putting the mental stuff first was as important, if not more important, than the physical loss, which, as we know, some people didn't agree with, but not. And I think that both are important, especially if there's a health aspect to. I had a lot of health. I had the health of like a 50-year-old man, and I was like 35 years old.
Right.
Now I have the health of a 30-year-old man, and I'm going to be 40 in July. But no, I completely agree, and it was hard for me too because I was recently single, and then I just focused on the number and getting to my goal, and not any of like Mike said, and then all that mental stuff came to a head. And then face it, when all of a sudden I look like this, and women are ripping my pants off, I was just like, I just want to meet a nice girl and have a chat over some coffee and some pie at the Marie Callender's. And the next thing I know, the girls are ripping their pants, my pants off and tying me to a bed. I didn't know what was going on.
That's a different kind of pie.
It was. Not that I'm complaining. It was just weird. It was new.
Well, maybe they were just using the Michael May tactic of trying to get you for 20 years.
Yeah. I had a vasectomy, so it wasn't going to work, but they didn't know that.
Joke's on them.
I never tell them that until it's too,
Well, 80% of the truth. You stick with 80%.
Yeah. 80. Well, I mean, if it doesn't come up, it doesn't come up.
Right. Oh. God, I don't want to go to the serious question now, but I have to. Mama Mia VSG says, Michael, I'm pre-op. I have a clotting disorder, and I'm on a low molecular weight heparin. Do you have any advice for me? And I have surgery in 2 weeks.
Ooh.
Now, for the record, Michael's not a doctor, and he has been kicked by a cow recently. So.
Yeah. So.
A steer.
My thing was, I would be upfront with the doctor that has prescribed you with the heparin, and just tell them that you're concerned about it. I mean, it just from what I went through, I would recommend finding a drug that didn't raise your INR.
What are you on right now, Mike?
I'm on a Rixtra. It's an injection. It's the same thing as the new Xarelto, but something in the Xarelto gave me a rash, so we went to the Erixtra injections. So we're just changing all that up again too because of how much weight I've lost. I'm on a different strength now, so.
So you guys did have health problems. So how often did you check in with your doc to get your medications reduced for your other issues before you got to your goal weights or you're down to where you didn't need the medications anymore?
Well, see, all the whole medication stuff was new to me because I wasn't on any medications until July of 2012. My backstory: I started looking into weight loss surgery in June of 2012 and was getting it scheduled for that summer, and I ended up getting a blood clot in my leg that went from my hip to my ankle and broke loose.
Ooh, shoot.
And went into my lungs and showered my lungs with clots.
Oh my God.
I'm hard-headed, and I didn't want to go to the doctor, didn't have insurance, yada, yada, yada. So I walked around gasping for air for a week, and then finally went to the emergency room, and then that's when they told me that I had a blood clot all in my lungs, and I was sent home from the hospital on a cholesterol pill, blood pressure medicine, blood thinners, 24/7 oxygen, and then they told me that I had to wait 6 months to have surgery. They wanted me to heal up from all the clots. So, and then, when I had surgery, I immediately went off of my cholesterol pill, and then 2 weeks later went off my blood pressure pill. And the only pills that I'm on now is a fluid pill because I have swelling in my legs because I have what they call reflux in my legs, and my blood thinner, and then my happy pill, my Cymbalta.
I had I was on a blood pressure pill, and I have very low thyroid. My metabolism's all jacked up, and I have very, very severe sleep apnea. And so under the program that I was on, I had like a 3-week checkup, a 3-month checkup, a 6-month checkup, and then like a year checkup. By my 3 months checkup, I was off of the blood pressure pill, and my sleep apnea was gone. And then, they tested me. I've been low for vitamin D. So I take vitamin D, and occasionally I was low on B12, but that's been okay for a while. And then my thyroid medication never changed. They kept testing for it to see, and it never changed. So I've taken the same amount the whole time, and the level's like normal. So I was on that before the surgery, but so that's it. It's probably time, going back to what Mike was saying about finding a doctor who knows about, weight loss surgery, because my insurance changed through my work. So I can't go back to the program that I was in. Mm-hmm. Now I have a completely different setup. And I remember going to the doctor and saying, look, I was under this program. I had weight loss surgery. And the guy didn't even know what a VSG was.
Wow.
Like, he had heard of it, but he's like, is that the one where they cut your stomach? And like, he didn't really know.
You're like, time
and
out,
I'm like, yeah, I'm like, look, I never, actually, it happened before my year follow-up. So I go, I never had a year follow-up. Now it's like almost 2 years. This was a little bit ago. I go, now it's almost 2 years. I feel like I should have a blood panel to see like where my levels are, to make. I don't want to be deficient. And you see that in the community with people who have RNY being very iron deficient,
mm-hmm.
and and those kind of. I had part of the reason I had this surgery is to live as long as possible. The men in my family die early, So, and I didn't want that to happen to me. So, he was like, well, what's in the blood panel? And I was like, well, you tell me. I don't remember. It was like, all I know is that they took 1 billion vials. And, so I had to kind of tell them off the top of my head. And it's hard. It's hard. They don't want to put me into their, they don't want to give me to a specialist from their program because I didn't go through their program.
Right.
There should be some standardization is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that thank goodness my GP, she was with me before I had the surgery as far as working on the weight stuff like that. So we'd been running blood panels pretty regularly, and then afterwards she's like, hey, we got to keep this up every 3 months just to make sure everything's good. So she's taking really good care of me, and she runs a few extra things now that I've had this sleeve just to make sure I'm good. But like I'm still taking my D. My D hasn't changed at all with my weight. I still have to take 5,000 units a day to keep that regular.
Right.
But other than that,
5,000?
I take 5,000 a day, just to keep it regular.
Wow. I think I'm like I try to do like 2,000.
Yeah, it's been just one of those things that a lot of people I know have it here. I don't know if that's something to do with. We have more sunny days in Colorado than most other places, but I guess I'm just not out in it. So 5,000 a day is what I'm taking. But that, and then I think she checked my calcium. That was fine. She told me to stop taking vitamin B. My vitamin B was fine without it. So I feel pretty good about it, but I still check in with her every 3 to 6 months and just do a fasting lab and check it out. Because you can still have high cholesterol. You can still have other things just because you're thin. I mean, granted, most of that crap just goes away, but I don't like you, Chris. I had this last as long as I can. Let's not tempt fate,
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah, I was really not to interrupt, Phil, but I watched the video where, or what was it called, the Sarah's, what do they call their thing, the
Size Queen Saturday.
Science Queen Saturdays. So I watched the Science Queen Saturdays that you were on, and I was really I was taken aback a little bit about how you were like, it sounded like you had almost resigned yourself to just live for like 10 more years until your kids were kind of grown and adults and self-sufficient, and then you'd be fine with just kind of dying, I guess.
Yeah, I think what I was trying to get at there was more that, hey, why risk my life having surgery if all I really need to be here for is the next 10 years to get these kids to adulthood? I mean, it'd be great if I could go longer, but I got to be here for the next 10 years. So why put the risk of dying on the table, in the equation just so that I can get 20 when I only really need to be here for 10? I wasn't really necessarily resolved to just, okay, 10, I'm dead.
Oh, okay.
But,
I was like, man.
That was kind of where I was going with that.
Wow.
And Mike, you can probably chime in on this, but I was thinking, as a father, we're all fathers here. It's not just the length of time, but it's I feel like it's the quality of the time that you have, and mentally as well as physically. Like, even if I had 10 years to go for some reason, wouldn't you want that 10 years to be for you to be happy and not just there?
Exactly. I mean, I have a lot of regrets from when because my kids are older. I mean, my kids are, my oldest will be 21 in August, and my daughter's 18 and my son's 16. I got a lot of regrets from when they were younger where I was just, I just sat around most of their childhood. Where now I'm to the point where I can get up and go and do, and they're like, they don't want me to go and do with them.
Yep, I was just talking about that the other day. So what I did not realize in that equation of, hey, I got to be here for the next 10 years, or maybe I didn't think about as consciously, was that, the things I do now, like my daughter and I go skiing, I can go hiking around, I can do all that stuff that I wasn't bringing to the table before. I probably could have done, but it wouldn't have been enjoyable for me at all.
Exactly.
And now I do enjoy it, so they get to see the joy of that, and it makes them want to do it. Now, again, to your point, my son's a little older, and I feel like I missed that opportunity with him. But now at least I'll be here when he kind of swings back around and Dad's cool again to go do stuff with, or when he gets a house later on in life and needs to work on the house, I can go help him work on his house or his car or whatever. So I'm
Exactly.
available to do that now. So that there's the upside to that. So you're absolutely right, Chris. The quality was
And
the factor.
not only that, to like be able to do stuff with and spend that time in a physical way, but also like I remember I'd come home and my kids were real small and I'd be sad. Like I didn't want to come home. I was unhappy in my relationship. I was unhappy with myself. I didn't feel good. And it made me mentally just unhappy where I didn't even really want to, and that's not the best me I could be to them. Even if physically I couldn't, run around the block with them, mentally I was not fully the best dad I could be.
Yeah, and well, I have some on that one too. See, I didn't realize that my kids were missing out until I did my Q&A with my daughter a month or so ago when we talked about riding the rides at the rodeo, where she used to think, man, I wish my dad could ride the rides with me, and now it kind of got a little emotional in that video because I can ride the rides with her now, and she felt good about it because she's been waiting her whole life to do it, and she's 18 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a tough watch, but it really did put the point on the issue. I mean, that's something you didn't even know about. Now, you were missing out on something you didn't even realize.
Exactly.
I think that's probably a lot of us are kind of in that denial or have those blinders on, because thinking about that stuff just makes you more depressed than you already are. Who wants to think about that stuff? You kind of put blinders on. I used to tell myself, I don't eat that much. No, I'm fine. I go up on stage and play, but you're just kind of in denial.
Well, yeah, I was in denial about a lot. I mean, I'm fat, but I'm not that fat.
Right.
I can still go and do it if I want to go and do it. I just don't want to go and do it.
Yep.
Which
That was
in and of
my
itself is a symptom.
excuse.
Not wanting to go to do it is a symptom of it too, which you don't realize.
Yeah.
All right,
have-
well, we
You
got
have
a
any
new one here.
questions, Bill?
Yeah, Miscellaneous Fields wants to know, and this one's for Chris. Waffle, is it true that spooning leads to forking?
Absolutely.
I thought that you would appreciate that one. Are you guys still taking vitamins? Are you guys doing vitamins still every day? That's
Yes.
another one from Tanya, by the way.
My vitamin D, I take a multivitamin, a vitamin D. I still drink at least one protein. I drink those I like those Premier Protein, the chocolate. I drink those. I drink at least one a day too, and those have a lot of vitamins in them. So I think vitamin D, a multivitamin, and one of those shakes at least.
Yeah, I take a multivitamin, a protein shake, and a B12 every day.
I take a B12 occasionally when I'm feeling down, a little run down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm doing the D, the calcium. I only do half the calcium though because I haven't needed it any more than that. So I just do it one time a day, and then I take a St. John's Wort as well, just for mental stuff. Just keep my mood better. And then I'll take an antioxidant every once in a while, or vitamin C or echinacea, depending on if I'm feeling like I'm catching a bug or something. But all in all, just mainly and the probiotic. The probiotic I do religiously. So probiotic, D, multi, and calcium are the four that I do every day. So, yeah.
I forget what I was going to say.
It's okay.
Never mind.
If you think about it, let me know. So here's another one, and this is a waffle question as well from Miscellaneous Fields again. I'm starting to see a theme here from Missy.
I'm Missy.
Is it easier being in a relationship with a fellow WLS patient to keep each other accountable?
This is the first. So since my surgery, I was in a relationship, and I had dated around, and Sarah's really the only person who has had weight loss surgery. The rest of them didn't, and the girls that I dated, and then I had like an ex-girlfriend before, and It is different. Definitely has its pluses as far as being able to understand the mental aspects, even though I kind of suck at that because sometimes she goes through the normal stuff that you go through your first year out, and it's the same crap that I went through, but I forgot. So like she'll go to do something and I'll be like, what, and then she'll say, but but I, because of this, and I'll be like, oh God, I remember going through that too, and I feel like shit. So, but we can get each other on that point, being overweight and then losing the weight and understanding the struggles with food. So there's definitely like a camaraderie there. The flip side is, it's like, leaving the Alcoholic Anonymous meeting and then going to a bar. So we'll sit there, we'll be there and be like, oh man, ice cream? Oh, ice cream sounds good. I mean, we're both still have a problem with food, and that will always be the case. So that's hard. With like, I dated somebody who did not have I have a major sweet tooth, and I was dating somebody who didn't have a sweet tooth, and in that sense, it was easier because I'd be like, ice cream? And they'd be like, I don't want ice cream. And then we wouldn't get ice cream, and it helped me. So there's some give and take on that. You would think that it would be super good because we're both in it to win it, but it's not, because we both have a problem with food, and man, and if I'll have a craving for something, and they'll be like, shoot, that sounds good, or she'll have a craving for something, she'll bring something home, I'll bring something home. It makes it hard in that way, although she's super supportive. I feel like we're super supportive to each other, and but really, ultimately, you're accountable for yourself. I don't know. Did I answer the question? I kind of babbled on for a while.
I think you got it. Mike, this one's for you, and this one goes back to your superior spousal technique, it's from BSG Kirk. So,
oh boy.
So prepare yourself.
Okay.
Screw, marry, kill, and then in parentheses, Phil, TJ, and Kirk.
Yes.
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 The
yes.
answer is yes.
And Sarah confirms that is the best Fat Kings question ever. So.
Which Sarah?
That would be. I'm sorry. That was less of Sarah.
Mm.
So many, I know. I forget every once in a while.
Yeah.
Let's see. There was another one specifically from Michael. Oh, Michael, did you? And it sounds like Chris. I'll let you tag up on this too. But Michael, did you have a second adolescence during your weight loss journey?
Well, yeah. Like right now, I feel like I'm invincible. I want to go and do and party and just the stuff that I felt like I missed out on from being, overweight most of my life. I kind of have that childish mentality right now.
How you been dealing with that?
Some days are better than others. Just I go and have fun. I'm still young enough where I can go and party and do it, so I do it. Even
nice.
though we're not supposed to, from what I've been told.
How about you, Chris? It sounded like you did have a little stint with that.
I did. Well, I'm thinner now than I was in high school. I never did much of dating. I spent all of my 20s very morbidly obese. And then, and then I had I kind of ended my marriage through, although, I think the weight was a symptom of that. That wasn't the reason why my relationship didn't work with my ex-wife. Ultimately, it was more of a symptom. So I ended that, got the surgery, and boy, I was living the life that I thought I had always wanted. But then as you experience things, and this is the bad thing, because now you're like in your 30s experiencing stuff you should have experienced when you were 20. And it's just weird because people think you should know better, but I didn't know anything.
Right.
I was sitting in my house playing video games and eating chips for 10 years, you know? So it was weird. I definitely had some crazy, kind of wild experience. Probably not that wild. They were wild for me, and new. So it got a little crazy, but then it really burned out fast. I was like, yeah, you know what? Now I've experienced all this. I kind of know what it's like. I'm gonna look for something else.
Yeah, I think I think I just said this week even was the last 4 months. I kind of to your point, Chris. Like I went through college with like the mentality of like, you know, don't worry, don't get distracted. You know, you didn't have these experiences in high school, but just go and get your degree and get a job and do all the things you're supposed to do and
Right.
you'll have the last laugh and because you'll be successful in this and that and the other thing and it'll all pay off in the end. And then I did that and then I got into I had my own company after I got out of college and I was like, God, man. And my best friend was the same one at the time, and we were both like, man, you know what? We missed out on all those parties, and we missed out on all this. Oh, we'll just pick that up now that we're older and we have income, and But even then, during this process, I have found myself looking at things a lot less black and white and a lot more gray, which is very weird for me because I have been a very black and white kind of dude.
Right.
So I think that journey through the gray, and I think I said it something like I've been wading up to my knees through the gray. It's a very strange experience, and I definitely do have all those. I mean, even the physical things of an adolescence, like I'm breaking out again and stuff. It's weird. So crazy. All the urges, all the feelings, all that stuff's just nuts. So, there's something to that.
Well, people treat you different. People definitely have treated me differently than when I was big. People treat you different. You're able to do different things. It opens up a lot of different avenues that you didn't even realize were avenues or that weren't there. And, and then, if you try, I jumped into, I signed up for one of those online dating things. I was in my apartment. I was single. I had my bachelor pad, and I sat down one day, and I'm like, well, I'll meet people. I signed up for one of those things, man. I started going on all these dates, and I had no idea what I was getting myself into.
Right.
You may find that hard to believe from knowing Chris Waffle, but I'll be honest, as a mentor to the people, I didn't understand what I was getting myself into, and I added myself into a lot of crazy. I don't have any regrets. I definitely don't have any regrets, but just when I think about myself, from 3 years ago almost to now, it was a whole new world of exciting. It was like a new adolescence, definitely like my midlife crisis almost.
Right.
And so you were single at the time, so you had I've talked about this with Gooch too. I'm like, hey man, you're single and you're going through this. You're going to have opportunities open up that you're actually going to be able to take advantage of. On the plus side, you'll be able to take advantage of them. On the negative side of that, you really got to think about where you stand on it before you do that, because you're not going to have a stopgap there. Mike, as a married guy, have you struggled with that as far as maybe other women paying attention to you and how you deal with that attraction versus being married man?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's been really weird to have females be attracted to me and hit on me. It's mind blowing.
Definitely.
Like about a couple weeks ago, and young girls, ladies. I mean, just in the early 20s, and it's like, I mean, it's really it plays on. It really messes with your mind.
It is. Diana Vogel at the last Obesity Help Conference talked about overcompensating. Mm-hmm. So, like a lot of people, when you're really obese, you either kind of withdraw and just kind of shy away from people and become, real shy and kind of withdrawn and avoid people, or sometimes you really overcompensate. Mm-hmm. So you get a really big personality to because otherwise people just ignore you. Everyone ignores the fatty in the room. No one,
Right.
no one wants to talk to you. So you get like kind of a bigger personality because you're like you want to be involved with people. That's kind of how I was because I'm extroverted. I like talking to people. I like getting involved in things in groups and things like a group of people and going to parties. And so you have to develop like the funny fat guy where you're really overcompensating. But the problem is then you get to your normal size, and when you overcompensate like that, it just becomes obnoxious because people are already paying attention to you. So I had to figure out how to draw that back and not be over the top because people are already coming up to me now and not ignoring me like I was fat, but still feel like I'm myself. And that was hard, but even when like I was hanging out with some family at this bar shortly before I moved up here, and I was with Sarah, but I ended up chatting with a group of people and talking to this girl at the bar, and I felt like I was just being nice. Like the waffle charms were at maybe a 25%. It wasn't even like. When I met Sarah, and Sarah and I were talking like the Saturday night when we like met, like I slowly ratcheted up the Calkins charms to the next day it was like at 100%. Well, I was talking to this girl, maybe 25, just being friendly. By the time I left, her friend was like, "Hey, this girl wants to hook up with you. Where are you going?" Like she's ready to go home with you, and I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "No, I'm engaged." Like that's not. And I was like,
nice. Yeah.
it just like Mike says, it's totally blindsiding you that I would never even, my brain would never even like recognize that was like a possibility, because I still feel like that was never happened to me.
Right. Yeah, I've got to watch it because I am truly a natural flirt, and now I have to
Oh, I
put
can tell
punches.
from your videos, Mike. I felt like you've been flirting with me this whole time.
Well, that's another topic. So. But yeah, I mean, I'm a natural flirt, and I really have had to put thought into how I act around, women now, so they don't take it the wrong way.
It's so funny you guys talking about this. I just talked about this too. I had the same problem, and I think to kind of curb that a little bit, I started kind of backing away and not being myself. To your point, Chris, and I struggled with it for a while. And then I just realized, no, I'm not going to stop just being friendly and outgoing, just so that people, maybe once in a while they misconstrue it as flirting. Okay, fine. But that's why I'm kind of glad to hear both of you say that because it kind of tweaked with my melon for a while. The first few times it happened, and it threw me off my game for sure. I was like, whoa, wait, I didn't know that you thought I was sorry,
Yeah. I mean, it's hard because I think a lot of times it would be like, oh, there's Chris, the funny, fat guy, the big brother type figure, like Mike was saying back in the day. You're the funny friend, the older brother type, and the girls don't take that seriously. But I guess when you look as hot as we do, it becomes serious real quick.
Yep.
Who knew? Who knew? I mean, all those times you wanted the girls to be like fall for you for being the funny guy and
that's right.
And now it's like you don't want it. It's just you barely can walk down the street. It's terrible.
It's hard. I cannot walk down the streets of Canby, Oregon without a woman throwing their underwear at me. It's ridiculous.
That Sarah better get you a nice bright ring so that
they're all hers.
Oh, okay. Well,
okay.
There is that.
Just kidding. She doesn't wear underwear.
Right. So I was just saying, I know you're lying but you beat me.
Yeah, no, she doesn't. As you know, Phil.
I learn something new every day.
Well played, Sarah. Well played. Let's see. Let's get one more serious one in here. Teeny Tiny, as far as I'm going, Teeny Tiny wants to know: did you guys realize your pre-op health issues were worse than you thought once? Wait, let me try that again. Sorry. Did you guys realize that your pre-op health issues were worse than you had thought once you became healthier? I'll start with Mike.
Yeah, I realized after I had started losing weight that I was in bad shape. beforehand, I didn't think I was as sick as I was. Well, I'm still kind of sick, but that's another story.
That's another kind of sick.
But I didn't realize how unhealthy I was until I started losing weight and getting healthier. I had no clue.
I think to Mike's point, I was probably a little bit in denial myself. I knew my apnea was very severe, and otherwise I thought, well, I'm okay. But as part of my pre-op tests, I had an EKG done, and my heart was like slightly enlarged, and that scared the crap out of me. And I had a big long conversation with my doctor, and he's like, it wouldn't, this test doesn't concern me. I think if you were 60, we would probably be worried, but your surgery should resolve that, and it's just another reason for you to get weight loss surgery. So he kind of set my fears. I was super worried about it, but then I read about it, and a lot of times it wasn't like super bad, but just the fact, if I hadn't gotten the surgery and that had just continued on its path, I'd be in big trouble at like 60, like you said,
Yeah.
So that was kind of scary.
Yeah, the latter half of 2012, I realized how sick I was because, I had never been to the doctor or anything until I had my blood clot.
Oh,
So
wow.
I probably hadn't seen a doctor but for like a cold my whole adult life.
Wow.
And then I had the blood clot, and it all hit at once.
Yeah, I didn't have any what do they call them? Slipping my
Pre-existing
brain.
conditions?
Yeah, pre-existing conditions,
There you go.
but I knew for sure comorbidities, I guess was the other word I was thinking of. But
Right.
But I knew they were coming. I mean, I was 40, so I went in to get my normal. I'm like, all right, time to go in for my regular annual tune-up. I better start seeing the doc every year for a blood test and all that good stuff. And, you just say, oh, well, your cholesterol's kind of on the higher side of normal. Your sugars are kind of on the higher side of normal. This is on the higher side of normal. That's on the higher side of normal. We're going to want to watch that. We're going to want to watch this.
Right.
Then, the next time the cholesterol would bump a little over, and then I'd change my eating, or I'd add a natural supplement and get it right back down to just under the line. But, it was a matter. It was a time game. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to keep this shit up for 10 years. In 10 years, I'm going to have these comorbidities. And I did have heroic snoring, which they I thought was apnea. Thank goodness it wasn't. But you know what? I don't snore like that anymore. So clearly, that was some oxygen not getting to my body, while I was sleeping. So,
Right.
But it was just gonna get worse. So I knew that, and so I think I had a pretty good picture of where things were headed. I mean, the alarm bells were going off, so I think I knew. I think I was aware where things were going. So.
Great question, Teeny Tiny Tummy, for Christine.
Oh, he said the whole name too. So.
Oh yeah, I have respect for.
Look at, is that
Nope.
Waffle Charm? That was like 25% right there.
Oh my.
There you go.
27.
27. That's an extra 3%.
Speaking of which, any more questions for me from Missy?
Let's see. I'm cruising.
Oh.
I don't see. Kirk did want to know, since I did wait a long time to ask his last question. When we were talking about adolescence, he says, spontaneous erections too, Phil? And I will have to say, spontaneous erections only in Tampa, apparently, Kirk. I don't know. Something to do with a lawn, a pool chair, and a bobsled. That's all I remember.
Spontaneous. They were worked for.
They were earned? Oh, okay.
They were earned.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll leave that to your imagination then. So. Gentlemen, parting words of wisdom. Let's start with Mike. Anything any big goals coming up, Mike? Any big events, things that you want to share, insights?
No big things coming up. I do have, I've got a couple of pounds before I hit the top of my maintenance, which is 205. And then when I hit 203, I've actually lost half of what I started at. So,
Nice.
I mean, it's
So
mind blowing.
close.
I never would have thought I would have lost as much as I've lost. So I've lost 90-something% of my excess weight.
Wow! Congratulations. So that's a VSG success right there, because they don't expect that out of VSG. So you really
No, they don't. I mean, someone had asked me the other day, does it work? And I just looked at him like, are you kidding me? Yeah, it works. And to be honest with it, it wasn't, I'm not the poster child for for the diet aspect of it or working out. I just recently joined the gym again and started working out, and I eat okay, but I still eat pasta and rice and all that, and it still works.
Very good, Mr. Chris.
I will say that I was thinking actually of the last time I was on FatKings, and we were talking to TJ, and I want to say that there was a time. So I'm over 3 years out now. There was a time when I thought that I couldn't gain weight if I tried, and I had hit goal, and everything was going along smoothly. And it was no worries, and I was like, oh man, I can do what I want. I can't gain weight. Well, let me tell you, now I'm not trying to gain weight, and I can definitely gain weight. So make those good habits now, and just keep that in mind. You will not have the restriction that you always will have, and yeah, it's not as always as easy as that first year and a half that you have. So not to scare anybody, but be scared.
I'm glad you brought that up because that's something we're going to have you back again because I do want to talk about, and I think at some point we'll get together a show of folks who are a little further out and talk specifically about that throughout the whole show because with the restriction going away, I mean, I'm even noticing, I think I told you, Chris, I'm pretty sure I told you, and I think I said it in the video too, but like I took down a freaking Quest bar the other day like that, and I didn't even think about it until after the fact. And I was like, if I had tried that even 2 months ago, I'd be throwing up everywhere. And I would like to explore that a little more, and I think it would be beneficial to everybody. So we'll definitely put that together.
Because I found out that I still have super strong restriction. I mean, I'm 4 ounce max.
Wow.
It occurred to me because, I remember you asking TJ, Phil, not to take up a lot more time on this, but I remember you asking TJ, like, what are your goals now? He had hit his goal weight and was saying basically he was done, and I think he's taken more off since then, but it's just kind of he's not doing anything. It's just kind of falling off him still. And you would ask him, like, what his goals, and he was just like, I don't have any goals. I'm done. And I think that's, for long-term success, you should, and I said this at the time, but for long-term success, you can't be complacent with the weight loss. I feel like it's going to be a struggle, for the rest of your life, that's it. We can talk about it more another time, Phil. We'd love to come back.
Add all the stuff you want in. That's fine. I control the show, so I can shut it off or leave it on. It's okay. I'm glad you mentioned that, though, and we will do that because I definitely want to do that for sure. And late breaking news, by the way, Mr. Gastric Tiger's not feeling well today, and I'm going to add this question because it will help folks maybe chime in the chat there for Bridget. But the Plus One Tigress wants to know, she's got sick, not sure what she can do for him. I can't make him chicken noodle soup. Any caretaking things that are helpful now as a weight loss patient. I would say you probably could make him soup, and he could just get the broth and the chicken chunks if he's not, stick to his stomach per se. But guys,
how far out is he?
He's RNY. I want to say he's lost 100-something pounds, so he's got to be. I'm sorry, Scott, I should know this, but I think 3 or 4 months in.
Yeah.
I had the norovirus when I was almost at about a year out, and I was having a hard time keeping hydrated, so I don't know if he's gotten, if he's sick because, and he's got poo-poo problems, as we say, and he's or if he's just got the flu, you know what I mean? So without that information, it's hard to say, but you can, like you said, sipping on some, always staying hydrated, that's a big part of it, and getting rest.
Anything worked particularly well for you, Mike, when you've been sick?
just staying hydrated, and when I'm sick, I kind of slip, and I'll eat the chicken noodle soup, or I don't eat much of it.
Right.
So
4 ounces max.
4 ounces
Right.
max.
And that is a good point. I mean, I know Scott has RNY, but I chose the sleeve, and I was talking about this to somebody the other day. I said, I chose this for me so I could eat anything I wanted in adjusted quantities,
Exactly.
appropriate quantities. Now, the other day, proved to myself that if you don't watch the some calories in some foods, you can get 500 calories in a very small quantity. But
That's right.
you need to have that wake-up call every once in a while. When you put that in MyFitnessPal and it comes up at 550 calories, and you kind of shit yourself a little. But
Yeah.
I think it'd be okay, Bridget, if you made him soup. Just even if you just did the broth, I think the that would be good to help keep him hydrated, give him a little salt back in his body, and keep him good. Depends again, to Chris's point though, what if it's the flu or if it's cold. So.
Phil, do you notice that with taking the vitamin D, you don't get sick that? When I started taking the vitamin D, I don't get sick that much. I feel like it strengthens my immune system. I don't get. I had a cold. Actually, when I came back from Tampa, in the cruise, I got like a little cold for a couple of days. And I was like, man, I can't remember the last time I was sick. It was like that norovirus thing, and I don't really get sick that much when I'm taking my vitamin D.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Like people will get colds in my house, and I'll get like the lightest version if I get it at all, and I can get ahead of it. Like I'm like, oh, I kind of feel it coming, so maybe I'll just take a little extra C or a little extra echinacea or something. But the other thing I think helps a lot too is the probiotic, because it helps with all the stuff in your gut too. So I'm doing both of those, and it seems to I'm in the same boat. Like I don't get sick unless it's really really bad sickness, which I know is coming at some point. But
Right.
But I'll take that all day and night, because I used to get a little cold here, a little sickness there. I'd be fighting this off, I'd be fighting that off, and I used to get a lot of shit from my friends at work, be like, "You're always sick with something," Now they haven't said that in a long time. So
Yeah, I really feel like everyone out there should really be diligent in getting their levels checked at least once a year, and following, and if they're deficient in something. I feel bad for a lot of RNY people that I've known personally have like drastically bad iron and B12 to where they need injections, and that was probably one of the things that a little bit turned me, that and the dumping kind of turned me away personally from the RNY and go for the sleeve, because I was fortunate enough way back in the day when the sleeve was still really new to get it. But I feel like my fiance was self-pay, and when her insurance kicks in with her new job, I'm making her go to get her levels checked, because I think it's really important, because that can cause left alone for a long time, that can cause problems.
agreed.
Yeah. I used to get sick quite often, but I think what's kept me from getting sick so much was I started taking vitamins and stuff where I wasn't before surgery.
Yeah.
So I think that has a lot to do with the impact of, or how strong the cold hits you, because a lot of us from what I understand, a lot of us did not take vitamins and stuff before surgery.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you sticking around a little longer there and chiming in. And Scott, feel better, sir. Next week, our special co-host will be none other than the Voodoo Queen herself, Miss Tanya. So Tanya VSG.
Oh, wow, that's gonna be a saucy one.
And I'm make it even. I'm gonna sweeten the pot a little. It's gonna be hard to beat this one, but I'm gonna sweeten the pot a little bit and tell you that the special guest will be none other than Kirk.
Yes. Oh,
so,
man!
All right.
That's some trouble. Put your drinking shoes on. Gird your loins.
I'm not gonna miss it.
Yeah, won't be missing that one.
I'm gonna be watching naked.
Won't we all? Well, I can't because I have to be on the show. But when I rewatch it, I'll be naked, so it'll be okay.
There you go.
Perfect.
All right, guys. Thank you. Yeah, you guys both mean the world to me. You guys both have been a huge inspiration. And I do mean that from the bottom of my heart, all joking and fooling around aside. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Same to you, sir. Thanks for having me.
All right. All right, guys. Until next time, remember, it's good to be the king.